Om Namo Narayana, welcome back. So if you've been watching my Upanishad videos, you may have noticed that they're not in any sort of order, as you may be familiar with. Typically, if you go to the store and you buy a book of the Upanishads, it will be a very small volume versus my very large volume, and it will be like the 18 most important Upanishads, or what's called the major Upanishads. That tends to be what most people read. It is very hard to find all 108, and when you do, as I've mentioned in other videos, they are not necessarily the easiest thing to read. And a lot of them are minor Upanishads, which, when you read them, or at least I feel reading them, yeah, they kind of don't have the importance that these others do. But that doesn't mean they should be ignored, because obviously we have 108 of them in a huge collection. So I decided in doing these videos that I would just kind of randomly read them as I feel moved to them, and also as I have time, like, oh, I've got a few minutes now, I can read a shorter one, etc. And I didn't want to put any focus on the 18 or the 16, whatever. I just wanted to look at the Upanishads as a complete picture. And I hope by posting them on this channel out of an order that you're familiar with, it may get you to start perceiving them not as major or minor, but just kind of stepping back for a moment and just seeing all of them. Today we're going to read a really short one. It's called the Vasudeva Upanishad. You may know Vasudeva. He gets mentioned in other texts that I've read on this channel. He's a huge name. Did he write this Upanishad? I don't know. We'll find out after I edit it, but even then, it may just be named for him, or it may be a telling of his story. Do you want to say one thing, and then I'll start? This is one of the Upanishads that's not really so well written. It's going to be a struggle for me to read this, and please excuse me, so I would recommend that you follow along. The rules of Urdhva Panda, the religious mark of Vaishnavas, which is vertical and points upward, will now be told. God Vasudeva, addressing him as follows. The Brahmachari and Grahastya, the householders, after reciting the following prayer. O God, who holds the wheel, mace and conch, O Akshyuntha, who is staying in Dwaka, O Govinda, O Lotus-Eyed One, please protect me, who has surrendered to you. Should then apply the Urdhva Punda on his forehead and in 12 other places with his pure finger, that being the finger next to the little finger. While reciting either the Vishnu Gayatri or the 12 names of the Lord, Kesava, Narayana, Madhava, Govinda, Vishnu, Madhusudana, Trivikrama, Vama, Srihara, Hirashaksha, Padmanabha, and Damodara. The sannyasi should wear the Urdhva Punda with his fourth finger on the head, forehead, and chest, chanting the pranava, Om. Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva are 3 in number. Macro, micro, and cause. There are 3 worlds above, Bhuvavasava, as there are 3 Vedas, Rig, Yajur, Sama, 3 states, waking up, dream, and sleep. The Urdhva Pandaras are 3, Ma. These 3 Urdhva Pandaras are full of pranava and full of the letter Om. That one pranava has only become any. The Lord of the Om takes you above, so you have to wear Urdhva Punda. That sage who wears 4 things upward, stick, bravery, yoga, and Urdhva Panda, would reach the high status of salvation. This stable knowledge which would reach me naturally through devotion. Thus ends that Upanishad. It's incredibly poorly translated, and I was struggling to read it, and my apologies, and my pronunciation of some of these words I haven't seen. I have actually not seen all the 1,000 names of Krishna or whatever it is, or who. So seeing these were, I'm just guessing. And in my version, there's no syllables to mark necessarily, or so I my apologies if I get my Sanskrit wrong. This Upanishad is basically talking about that mark that you see on the bodies of brahmanas, sannyasi. Basically, in modern society, it's going to be like ISKCON sannyasis who have it. So we all know the marks that Hindus will put on their head. For Vaishnavas, it's that. I don't want to. This is for if you haven't seen it, you know. For me, it looks like a tuning fork almost. It's those two lines. You'll see Shaivites with 3 lines across their forehead. There is actually other lines out there, variations and things that you'll see. For I know the Vaishnavas, that tuning fork, if you ever see one of them and you're looking at their body or they have something revealed, they often will have that in other places on their body. It's put in 12 different places in the body. Like after you get out of the shower in the morning, you put it on. And there's symbolism and ritual and chanting as you do that. And that is what this is saying. That is what this is talking about, putting it on your body. And then it's giving you some brief symbolism of that. Like, basically symbolism of 3. 3 Vedas, 3 this, 3 whatever. It's too brief. I'm going to say this Upanishad, if you want to know about this, please get on any resource out there you can find, Wikipedia even, and you'll probably get more information. Essentially, this Upanishad is laying down, it's laying down the law, not necessarily the theology. It's saying, this is what you should do, here is the basic reasoning of why, and you should thus do this. And then you can go elsewhere to find the details and the theology and the depth. There is one thing you probably saw that may have sparked your thoughts. It's that there are 3 Vedas, Rig, Yajur, and Sama, but you may know that there's actually 4 Vedas. Ronthya, I can't pronounce it right now and I'm forgetting. It's, well, that Veda actually came later in time. And that Veda, I believe, is a collection of stuff and is often seen as a minor Veda. So there's that. And then one might also argue other points here. It says Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva are 3, as I was just thinking out loud. And you'll be like, well, wait a minute, what about Krishna? What about Shakti? What about their female consorts or the other side? So I would recommend this, like I said, this is the ruling. Now you go and research it and you dig into theology and you dig into what it says and why it says this, and thus we probably see why this is a minor Upanishad. I think that's my summary. It's hard to digest, it's hard to interpret, it's laying down some rule that seems to be for one religious group of just Vaishnavas. So if you're not a Vaishnava and you're reading this, you're going to be like, well, what do I do? You know? So it's really focused in, and it has a lot of questions, and thus as an Upanishad for everyone, it's not. So it's not going to be your major Upanishad. It's going to be a minor Upanishad. And yeah, welcome to the world of Upanishads. I've had this happen before, where I've kind of read something and I'm like, oh boy, this is just, there's almost too much here, there's not enough here, there's something, and the bad translation doesn't help. Anyways, so thoughts, comments, whatever, thank you for sitting through a clunky video. I try. And anything you want down below, please comment back, for my sake, for others who are watching this. But if nothing else, if this is just a complete failure of 11 minutes or however long of your life, understand that this is all about puja for the Lord. That's why I do this channel. I believe reading the books to learn, to develop, to create bhakti And to honor the Lord, we are honoring the Lord by reading the words of the Lord. So if nothing else, that's what you should get out of this. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.